Hello there, this is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. We are unpacking the Season of Green and Gold Sweet collection, and I have a bunch of cards to show you today, but we're only making one, but and we're making the one on the right there. Anyhow, this is new online exclusives that came out last week on July 3rd. This is a huge sweet collection. You have vellum paper, designer series paper, two stamp sets, two sets of dies, that beautiful, very vanilla ribbon there on the right. It's 3/4 satin, very easy to tie. You can see a bow that I did there. And then we have those cute little, I'm going to call them holly berries, little accents there on the right too. And those are in clear and cherry cobbler. And the colors in this sweet collection, real quick, obviously a bunch of greens: garden green, mossy meadow, old olive, pecan pie, very vanilla, gold, and whisper white. Now we have two-step images in this stamp set with everything there. You can use these images alone or double them up. The die cuts, all that designer series paper there that you see, I cut them out with the die cuts from this sweet collection, those ones that I'm going to be showing you right underneath the greetings of the season. Now that is a great sentiment set. It does stick to Christmas pretty much, but I've brought other sentiments in for our cards and mix and match. We have a tremendous amount of die cuts there, and you get 5 standalones of what I'm pointing to right now, and everything else will die cut the images and the designer series paper. Then you get all these great frames and or tags that you can attach to the gifts. They coordinate beautifully with the sentiments. And that's where I'm figuring out where the colors are, because this paper doesn't have a cardboard backing, and when it doesn't have one, I will cut the labels out and then pop it where I put my scraps into, especially with online exclusives, because I don't have anything, like a magazine to refer back to. So we get 6 sheets of vellum paper, 2 of each pattern, and you just sell the sprigs that I have there, and then some white snowy paper, and then that beautiful vellum right there. And again, the die cuts will cut out all of this for you. So moving on to our specialty designer series paper, I think it's very scrapbooky, but then you have great patterns like that. And again, you can see where I've kind of hacked up my DSP, because I'm just cutting everything out. And that is what the back side of that sheet looks like, where I'm cutting out a lot of images. Lots of gold overlay in there, pretty much on, let me take a look here just to make sure. Yeah, there's going to be some gold in everything there. We have dies to cut out the bells, not the double ones there, but that large one, and then the small one atop. Great plaid patterns in there. And I'm kind of fumbling my way through it right now. And then that's all gold. I can't get anything die cut out of that unless I go out of the box, but by using those, it's going to be a card that I'm showing you coming up pretty soon, because I lost my train of thought there. So this is the card. That is Summer Splash. And I use the fur dies in the Sweet collection to cut a couple sprigs and put them together. That is Highland Heather, where I die cut another one of the standalone sprigs out. That I thought, okay, let's get out of the box here. I see hearts there. I don't know about you, but that would be a really cute Valentine's Day card. The measurements and everything, they're all the same on all these cards. I just kind of threw everything together, brought in some embossing folders. Now this card is, well, the sprigs are die cut from the designer series paper. And that is another one that I made. That is my sample card, but I completely went off. I just went all the way off everything to making this, but it works out. So I went ahead as I was putting it together, because that is die cut cardstock there, and I thought I'll go ahead and use the same thing with the stamps and stamp them, and then put the overlay on top of it and emboss the gold into it. It got 2 gold, and I don't have a sentiment down there because I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this card yet. To me, it'd be a great wedding card as well. So our colors today are going to be crushed curry, wild wheat, old olive, and pecan pie. And I'm bringing in the pecan pie and clear dude as their embellishments, paint and texture embossing folder, and then the very vanilla and buffalo ribbon. We're not going to be using gold embossing powder because I changed it to clear. So to get started, all the measurements are the same. I have a black card base there, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, A2. My mat is going to be cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then my image panel, I'm going to cut that down to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And it's that exact same layout or sketch measurements on every single card I'm doing here. So now I'm going to bring in, for this one, because it's, more elegant-ish a little bit, paint and texture, and I'm going to pop that into that 3D embossing folder, bring in the Stampin' Cut emboss machine, and when you do embossing with those thick folders like that, all you need is the very bottom number 1 plate, pop on your folder, put on the top of number 4, run it through, and you're good to go. So for my first 3 cards that you saw there, those really bright colors and everything, to me that's out of the box, a lot of fun to do, and just something different for, I like doing whimsy fun Christmas with non-traditional colors. So I'm looking at my beige there, and it's kind of too beigey for what I have in mind. So I'm going to add some black splatter with a Stampin' Right marker, and I'm just using the cap of the marker to flick splatters on there. Luckily it's water based, and I was able to use my chamois to kind of clean up a little bit so I don't get it all over the beige card, not the beige, the very vanilla cardstock there. And with something like painted texture, it doesn't matter. Both sides are embossed and debossed. So I'm popping some snail onto the back of that embossed panel, and I'm going to adhere that to the mat. And that is eventually going to be added to our card front with Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm going to be stamping our images now, and I'm using white cardstock. And again, don't be afraid to mix your neutrals. The Sweet Collection has both white and vanilla in it, so you're good. So this time around, I'm using the Misty, not sure about it. It's lightweight. I'm used to the heavier Stamparatus and it being square. So you'll see me adjust my paper constantly here. So I laid that layer down of the image with Old Olive. And now I'm going to do our bells. And that's, it's all the solid images. Then I'll be putting the line art on top of that. And the bells are going to go down in crushed curry, pecan pie, and wild wheat. I was surprised about the wild wheat. Those are really good colors for a gold bell, to tell you the truth, because we don't have any gold in our lineup right now of ink but embossing. We did have some Delicata years ago. I still have it, but like I said, I try to stay very true to products that are current, so it's easier for you. And if we don't have them, great substitute here. So I got all of our colors down, and you might want to heat set them real quick just to make sure it's dry, because we are going to be laying Versamark on top of it and then clear embossing. So that little tool there that you saw, I got that at My Sweet Petunia, and the rabbit hole makes it, and it just holds embossing powder. We have a pouch. It's messy. It gets everywhere. I have a tendency to make a mess out of this because I haven't learned how to control the flow of it yet. So this is when I changed my mind to go to gold embossing powder, because I'm looking at that. It's like, wow, that adds some great depth to it. You don't have to clear emboss it. If I said gold, I was wrong, because I changed my mind from gold. You don't have to clear emboss it. You could leave it just like that. It will fade over time. But I thought, why not add a little bit of something, different to it and see how it turns out. So I'm making sure I get a good layer of Versamark on that. And it will stay sticky for you on your image just a little bit longer than regular ink. And you can also clear emboss our inks too, by the way. Old Olive will just brighten it up a little bit. And now I turned on my heat tool. It's going to take a second for it to warm up on setting 2, and I'm going to go ahead and get our little sprigs embossed there. Now I know that I said that we would do something watercoloring this week, and I'll get back to you about that in a minute. That was going to be my original idea for our greenery and our bells. To me, it just looked too gold, and I didn't want the too gold part. But the gold embossing does work out. I just didn't want it for this project after I saw the greenery there. So again, I know I said I was going to do something watercoloring. My time just got away from me this week and it didn't work out, even though I probably could have easily thrown some, reinkers down on some watercolor paper and then die cut those sprigs out. That would have worked as well too. But that will be coming up. I know within the next, I know I got a paper pumpkin kit coming this week. So that is where I don't know how to control that powder tool yet, and it just kind of made a mess, but it works out. And I figured it out. Don't slam it down in your hand like that, and you'll be okay. So back to paper pumpkin. I know that you guys like the alternatives, and I appreciate your feedback, and it means a lot to me. So now I'm just going through and putting the line art layer of Versamark on top of our bells now, and then heat embossing them with the clear powder. And I don't mean to sound all over the map. So with the paper pumpkin thing, hopefully it'll get here on Monday or Tuesday. And then after that, maybe watercoloring. I was kind of thinking about a Christmas alternative to the Happy House Plants kit. So, again, I do this for you, so you have to let me know what you want to see, whether it be something product based, a technique, or some kind of tip, a hack, whatever. Just let me know and I'm down for it. So I'm putting our last impression of Versamark on bells, and we're going to go ahead and get those embossed as well. Now I do know, coming up real quick, I lost some footage because my battery died, and you missed some die cutting, but I did catch it in time and change the battery. So I already have one of the sprigs cut out and a couple of the bells. And these are really easy to line up too. Our dies lately have gotten super, super precision to where they really capture like all the arcs and the curves and, just the shape of the image that you're doing. So I'm getting that down with some low tack tape, the blue tape that I always use. And we have the large bell and then the small bell, and I don't know why this isn't going faster. Oh, because you know what I'm thinking about doing this? Is that you can see where the bell and the sprig, or especially the bells, where the bell's embossed in the bell, but there is a bottom part of the bell on the line art image that we are not going to get this time around. And so, but it's still sparkly a little bit. In person, you can see it. Again, I don't know what I want this card to be. It could be a great winter wedding card. So I'm just going to leave that sentiment blank there. And that is 3 inches by 3/8. Pretty much the same thing I did on all the other cards. So I'm arranging my bells together, grab some scotch tape, and looking at them from the top, getting some liquid adhesive just to make sure it stays down. And I'm going to set that up real quick and kind of figure out where I want to put the sprigs down and everything like that. I do know I'm going to put mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I use both sizes, black because the card's black, at the bottom of the images, and then the tops will be adhered with liquid adhesive just to give it that extra texture and dimension. And after that, I just kind of pencil it up a little bit so I know where to get everything laid down. It's going to be covered up anyway. And that's pretty much how I put stuff together, because to me it's a really big winging it process, especially with it. Well, not well, kind of, sort of, yes and no. This one, yeah, because I did change how I wanted to emboss midstream. My greenery is not the same, so it kind of threw my scale off a little bit. Just weird neurotic things like that. And then now I'm remembering what I said about, oh, okay, got to glue down the tops with liquid adhesive and Stampin' Dimensionals at the bottom. So I ripped them off, found my pencil mark again, and now I really wish I'd like put the greenery up way further. To me, it's dragging down too much, but we're our own worst critics. Getting the bells down, and I marked where I want them to go. I got many Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to pop them on the back, more glue on the top, and then go ahead and get that adhered down and set that up with a block. So once that is all set up, I'm pulling in our last set of bells there. Just going to keep them together with a little bit of liquid adhesive. And again, more Stampin' Dimensionals on the back and glue at the top. Now, for the blog post for this, that is not going to be up until Monday. I am buried this weekend. And like I said, the measurements are all the same on this with the card base and the mats. And it'll be there Monday by noon, I promise. So I'm finally getting that, not finally, getting our bells down there because I'm slowing it down a little bit because we are kind of getting in the home stretch here. And now I will be pulling in that ribbon. That's not part of the Sweet Collection, but it's Buffalo Check. I'm going to keep that for a long time, or, keep it on board because something like that doesn't really go out of style. And as you can see, that's really, really easy to tie. And does it go with anything on here besides the basic black? No, but that's all part of it, right? Just do things that you like to do and make it all work for you. So while I'm endlessly fudging with that, I'm going to pop a glue dot down, a large one. And again, I get all these from Paper Pumpkin Kits. On the top of that, lay the bow down and then trim up those tails there. You'll be able to have the pictures and everything up like that over on the blog on Monday. And I was debating on whether to use pecan pie or the clear dots like I have. I thought, you know what, why not bring in a little bit of cherry cobbler? And those embellishments, they are part of the Sweet Collection. So why not just make it like a little bit cheerful? And that is it. Really easy to make. There's a ton of potential and creative possibilities with the Sweet Collection here. And again, it's a big one. It doesn't have a shelf date, so to speak. So on the left was my sample. On the right is what we did. That is another card that I made with a paper pumpkin envelope. And yet another one trying to keep it Christmas, all with the same layout, except for the one on the right there. And there's like our little Valentine's Day card in Pretty in Pink, Highland Heather, and then Summer Splash. So I hope you enjoyed today's project, and thank you for joining me. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you again next week.